Welcome everyone. It's 3:14 on the clock, Pi Day, and I have so much to bring to you. I have the read on the table, and I also have a message of the day read, but I have so much more as well. So I'm bringing you information from all of May, from May 1st, and as I was meditating for you guys just before the read, I was getting the Lamb of to not March 21st, but 2/22 was coming up as the Lamb of 222 to Ramsgate, going from 222 to 321, and then 321 to 44, Ramsgate 44 to 49, just in time for Lionsgate. So there's this energy of the lion and the lamb and the ram today. And my inner child was showing me, she jumped up in Sophia's arms and she was swinging her hair around like she was all that. And then she was like Snoopy flying an airplane, but she was the airplane. So there's this excitement and joy of your own inner child coming up. And so I went outside to ground, and I was guided to bring this wish in for you. So I'm going to blow the wish. So make a wish. And then I went down to the tree that was just below that wish, because I kept seeing a new baby by the tree. And so I wanted to check down there to see if there were any new sprouts there. And there was a plastic tube down there that I'd never seen before, and I was going to pick it up and throw it away, except there was a whole bunch of ants in there. As I looked in, I was going to blow everything out of it, and there was a whole bunch of ants working in there. But what I did see at the base of the tree, and I gave the tree a little hug, saying hello, and the tree hugged me back. And so then when I went down to the base of the tree, I saw this perfect wish, and when I went to pick it up, look how perfect it is. I couldn't find a stem, because there were other stems around it, but I couldn't find something to grab onto it with. It didn't have a stem. It had already broken off. And it was attached to this little flyer, which is part of the tree that I was grounding with. And the tree, when I hugged it, actually gave me this little, I don't know if you can see it. I put it in front of the white. The tree gave me this little guy. Blew it right on me as I was hugging the leaves. The wind blew, and this guy fell right on my chest. So, I can't believe how perfect this one is. It's like such a perfect little dome. So now you have a second wish here. Or should I just place him on a throne? Maybe I will. Let's see if we'll put him up here, as I forget that the fire's burning there. Oops, he fell down there, but that's all right. We'll leave him down there. So right before, I also had pulled some cards to see if there was any clarity on the messages I've been getting. And I don't usually use this deck because it's a French deck, and I don't even remember all the words. But I did look them up. The underlying energy here was the sages and the Tibetans here, and actually the Tibetan Asian card from my past life deck kept coming up all week, every day. So something about the Asian Tibetans and the sages coming from there. We have the number 5 here as well, which we're in the month of May, but 5 is also the Hierophant and change, freedom, and expansion. That's the underlying energy here. And the cards that came out from that deck were first these two cards together. Again, the sages with the 3, which is the Empress, and the 23 of Les Guérisseuses, maternals, and that's the healers. So the mother healers, and 23 is the King of Wands. So we have the Empress and the King of Wands going on here. So you might want to check out the images too for some kind of activation there. And that's kind of reminiscent of a Celtic cross here. And this looks like, and you see there's the cross right there, and an X marks the spot in this feminine figure here. And there seems to be like a face in the middle of this cross as well. And this one's faceless. So it's like the face in the middle of this cross belongs to this feminine energy here who has an X over them. Right, the plus sign and the X. And I always talk about that, right? Because the plus sign is the quarter, but the X is turning an eighth turn, where both turn an eighth instead of a whole quarter, which then becomes the same square that it was to begin with. But if you just turn an eighth turn, it's like opening the lock, where both open the lock at the same time, right? So it's like two lines crossing paths like this. So we have the sages and the maternal healers here, the mother healers, and then these two guys also came up. And the first were blue and gold, and then here we have two very purple energies, but this is a little bit darker than this one. I was just getting a little bit more bloody than this one. And the passeurs has to do with, it's actually defined as the, what's the word? Not robbers, but, shoot, I just looked that up. It's the voyagers in one sense, but it's also the negative of that. I can't think of the word, but like a robber, somebody stealing something. But this one with the fairs is the lighthouse, right? So the voyager's lighthouse, and here's the voyager over here, right? So it's like the human and the enlightenment. And we have 31 and 32, which it was 3:01 on the clock when I was looking this up. 31 is the Five of Wands and 32 is the Six of Wands, of, right, the messenger who brings in the good news. But here is the chaos of life, the Five of Wands, which is also the pursuit of happiness. And these two both look like more feminine figures. But this one feels much lighter than this one. And I guess with more bloody, it would be more heavy on this side. But she looks more heavily crowned is what I'm getting. And this one more light, like gossamer wings, light of wing. And heavily crowned. And there has been that duality coming up in this message today as well. The energy of the organic versus AI, and then the Aborigines versus the crown literally was coming up. So I want to get started because there is a lot to get through here. And even today, there is this energy of the Berbers being linked to the Sikh, which is a much more recent idea. But I think they were trying to get me to the original division of the human, right, into that Asian look versus the African division. So there's this division, the original division of the humans. So I'll get into that because a lot came up about the Berbers. Yeah. So back on, I'm going to do everything in the order that I received the messages, including the reads on the table, as we have the little wishes here, if you've forgotten. There's little seeds, and they'll probably move around the table as I do the read, so you might want to take note of that, since they are very light as a feather. And notice, literally, and this wouldn't have been like this before I blew it, right? It's like there's two here, right? Each of these are two pieces. And it was mimicking the more grounded, earthly, or denser version here of the gifting. So again, there's that energy of reflecting the dark and the light, the dense and the less dense. So on May 1st, I started doing a technique of counting down from 100 to get to the 0 point space more easily as you wake up in the morning, because you're already in that space as you wake up in the morning, but to wake up fully and then to go back and count from 100 down to 0 for 10 days, and then 10 days of 50 to 0, 10 days of 20 to 0, and then 10 days from 10 to 0. So then when you count from 10 to 0, you can get into that space more easily. So I started on the 1st, so I'm only at day 8 here since it's May 8th. But that's when I started. Was there something else from the 1st? No. Okay. And I did want to give you an idea of some of the stuff that's coming up. All right, so some of the things I listed, PFOAs or C8 was coming up, self-regression, which I was just talking about. The word God, if you break it down physically, becomes 2 parentheses with toi in the middle, which is you. It's also the T of source, the O of the human embodiment of source, and then the I of the I am. Organic versus AI parallels. The Neanderthals came up in the documentary on Netflix about Neanderthals, that they disappeared 40,000 years ago, which is supposed to be the time of the seeding. Also, the great blue turaco came up, which is a turquoise bird, which I'm going to show you a picture of because it's so beautiful. And also, when I looked up gematria, one of the numbers during this week, Stormy Daniels had came up, and when I looked up something last night, on my iPad, that was the name that came up in the header. It was pretty funny. Berbers, the I don't know how to pronounce it. It's the Amazigan, and then the plural of that is Imazighen. Amazigan. But as soon as I saw that word, I was getting imagination. So there's this, and the word with the I is coming up for me as the original, right? Because there's lots of derivatives of the Berbers since way back, long ago, and they've been documented in Africa back, to 10,000 years. So that was coming up. The Dalai Lama came up, Darth Vader came up, the mountain in Britain, and a couple things I had participated in. So we're going to get into all of that. Okay. All right, so first thing up is going to be this read on the table. I am going to roll the die first. Let me do that. And I'm going to show you the picture of this read. Make sure I have the right one. Oh no, this read is not the one on the table, but I did want to give you the information of this, of just the headers, from the code line that were coming through. And Pie-Man came up, and I'd forgotten that Pie-Man is Homer Simpson, which also came up in other ways. Right? Pie-Man is the superhero alter ego of Homer Simpson. And last week, or the week before, is when I'd watched the Simpson stuff, and the Simpson came up. And again, this is a version of him in a cape and his underwear in order to protect his daughter. So Homer Simpson and Highway 5 came up, as well as Pie-Man, P-I-M-A-N, the word, actually means pepper, chili, and spice. And so they may be coming up as well. I know that TLC had something on Netflix as well. So just some of the energies randomly that were coming up. All right, so now on the 2nd of May, and check out Diary of a CEO if you haven't before. There's been some really good talks on Diary of a CEO. And again, that's going to be specific to you and what you're interested in. So check that out. So I was feeling that week very disconnected, right? I wasn't connecting easily. I wasn't feeling badly. I just felt disconnected. So it makes you feel a little bit lost. It's like I always used to talk about the period from Lionsgate to September where you've kind of graduated and you're kind of left to your own devices for a bit before anything new comes in, and you feel kind of lost because you're not feeling connected or directed. But I was feeling through that, and I was just allowing it. Obviously, there was a reason for that. I was doing some integration, and there's a lot of things going on. I talked about, I had a visit from my brother, and then he got COVID, and then my son just came to visit yesterday, and my daughter just got back from England. She was there for 4 days, and stuff from England came up as well. So remember that your daughters, your sons, are DNA extensions of you. So when they travel, they're literally doing grid work for you in the name of your DNA. So And I was also getting into doing stuff around the house, doing more 3D stuff to get some stuff done. And also getting more connected because I want to set up a meditation group to have in my basement. But I just have to get, organized to do that. So then I was, in thinking through this, I had remembered a feeling that I had after I had divorced. And my bedroom at the time had this really ugly wallpaper on it that had been there forever. And my ex refused to do it. He was a carpenter, and he refused to do anything on the house because he wasn't the one who owned the house, which always made me so frustrated. So after my divorce, the first thing I wanted to do was get this wallpaper down. It was the wallpaper that was literally adhered to the wall, and it was really tough to get down. But I remember the feeling of doing that, and also staining the furniture I had in my bedroom, and just doing it, just getting up and going to the store and getting the stuff that you needed to do it, because I'd never done it before. And you always kind of hesitate when you don't know all the steps to take. But just, stopping that thinking process and just going and doing it. And then I had just gone to the store and done it and got the furniture stained, and everything worked out great. But it was just that feeling of finally getting everything in an open, free, I painted everything white space. But associating that feeling with what I was feeling at that time in April, or May 2nd here even, as I was still feeling a little bit disconnected there. So I went back to look back to see if that year was in the 9-year cycle, because in numerology, everything repeats in 9-year cycles. And it was in a 9-year cycle from now, that same kind of feeling. So I went back and kind of did an overview back to 1983 of the relationship of each 9-year cycle to see if I could pick up on anything. But just busy times were coming up. And that association with those times, because when I was raising my kids, I was busy all the time. So you might want to do that for yourself if that comes up. It might be helpful for you to identify some things that want to come up. So then the thing with God came up in my Instagram, where G-O-D literally is 2 parentheses with T-O-I in the middle. And what it means is to move into the center, into your heart, but it also means to remove, to bring, to guide, to pull away. So in essence, it means to be or not to be, but it also meant to let something go to waste. So either bringing it to your center, your heart center, or letting it go to waste. So it was really cool the way that definition of God came up. So in the past life deck, which I've been pulling every day, so I haven't been getting past the past life deck because it takes me into all of these different things. So that day on the 2nd, I was getting the unicorn wisdom, and then the farm card, which is 2 horses on a farm, the tree card with the sun coming through the trees, and then I was getting right away Mr. Ed and JC, the horse and hound, God and dog reference, and again, the God being Toi. But remember, my capital D is like the something spinning, right? Referencing the earth on an axis. And G is C and T, right? The Christ consciousness and the top dog. The 0 being the human embodiment of Source. And then the D of the divine spin of the planet. And Toi, the other definitions for Toi were if to die, specifically to die in epidemic. And it was referring to domestic animals, but how ironic is that? To go to waste, caterer, supplier, provider, axe, center, heart, scramble, flock of birds, culminating point, you, toy, quick, quitter, question, to lift, remove, take off, pull away, to bring, fetch, get, produce, generate, yield, lead, guide, import, you, the, penis, which came up again, to be, and then tais-toi came up, which I'm very familiar with because my father was born in France and my grandmother used to say tais-toi all the time, or shut up, be quiet. The wisdom of 2 horses, to bring a 3rd in, the sun's rays through the tree becomes the wood on the carpenter's bench, the family tree that sacrifices for their children out of love. In a biblical sense, the horn becomes the hammer, the gavel. To know someone or something in a biblical sense, stripped down and raw, to have done the dirty work yourself with your hands, and the word hand has been coming up a lot here too. If you're going to kill the tree, make sure its love doesn't go to waste. Show gratitude to your home and your chairs and your tables. Imprisonment and slavery then came up, of or by an orphan in communal living, leaving the prophet hung out to dry, as that card keeps coming up too. Some of the cards from the past life deck that keep coming up over and over and over again is the Asia card with like a Tibetan monk praying, but I always get this Chinese energy from it because it's wearing a covering in yellow across their chest. But and the high priestess kind of energy being strung up to dry, and the tree with the sun coming through it, they keep coming up over and over again. So leaving the prophet hung out to dry, for communing with the dolphins and not wanting to dirty their waters. Oh, very interesting. I was just getting one of my past lives regarding that. Okay, so here is the high priestess not, wanting to commune with the dolphins and not wanting to dump things or dirty their waters, and offering their love to them like sending flowers that have been cut and killed so that they could express the love and beauty that you don't know how to express with words. And again, tais-toi. Would anyone have seen that rose if it hadn't been cut and gifted and then dying naturally, only seen by their family of flowers and trees, and perhaps the squirrels and lots of other animals of the forest? And is their consciousness any less important than ours? To be imprisoned is to make you alone or locked in, unable to escape, forced to do slave labor with no one to love or protect you, the orphaned child. Exiled by the community because you were orphaned, you were deemed unwanted, with no parents or protection, a burden to society, left in a dirty environment like her dolphin friends. She remembers the fall of Atlantis and love lost. So I specifically picked a card, I hand-picked a card from the deck, and the underlying energy came up love life after the high priestess, persecution, inquisition, and then again dolphins in Atlantis. The first card that came out was Egypt. So here's this Lemuria and Atlantis energy, and the underlying energy of a new ship that comes in. It's all bright, new, and shiny. The energy of betrayal and leaves. Ladies and girls watching their cows. That's interesting because I wrote vows, not cows, but cows keeps coming up in the messages as well. So the ladies and girls watch vows of man. So it's the energy of two young ladies watching someone get married, perhaps even their parents if their mother and father are marrying, and unaware that he has left a child behind from another marriage, perhaps left them hung out to dry with their mother, now seen as the witch with a child out of wedlock, and dirtied by the Atlantic, the cutting of the roses, the deflowering, to soar with love in Egypt. Her sweet essence left in the forgiveness for the man who crushed them, not letting the cut flower go to waste. Okay, so then I had watched on Netflix Dark Waters, which is all about C8 and Teflon. And if you haven't watched it, please do. It's a very good movie, and it's very important because this problem has not gone away. DuPont's Washington Works, West Virginia, from Parkersburg. The Parkersburg base the movie was about the Teflon flu, they called it. But it is also, it never really talked about Gore-Tex in the movie, but when I looked up the information about it now, because this was back in the earlier 2000s, it said that Gore-Tex eliminated the use of PFOAs in waterproof fabrics by 2015 eliminated from nonstick materials. But they said that Gen X was really no better because it was where the Teflon was C8, this was C3, so it was still poisonous. So why I was so interested is because I did medical research for interventional radiology, and I dealt with Gore all the time. And Gore used to give me Gore-Tex gifts, including dental floss, which is listed as one of the poisonous things. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate some of this and put it out there because you guys won't know this. I only know that because I was working in the industry. So we'll get into that in a second. I looked up TO1 to see if there was anything besides toi that was coming up for around the word God. And again, toi, to be or not to be, to bring your heart center or let go to waste. You, thee, is the Y of the Y in the road, and the TH is infinity, basically. So it's basically the same thing. And then the OU of owing yourself, the energetic exchange to the nth degree. The Y equaling the TH and the OU equaling the energetic exchange, the equal energetic exchange, the infinite OU and EE, infinitely owing you in energetic exchange. So we'll get into the, all right. All right, so the C8 Teflon ingredient there it's called C8 because it's 8 parts carbon and there's a fluoride part in there. And in the movie, one of the questions he asked, because he's investigating a farmer who had 180 cows die on his property. And when he had entered his old town, this is his old town, that's why he ended up going back there, he was a lawyer. As he was driving back into town, he saw these 2 girls smiling at him, riding their bikes by him, and their teeth were black. So of course one of the first questions he asked was, what happens if you're overdosed with fluoride? And that's one of the answers he got. Well, your teeth are gonna turn black. And these girls had totally black teeth. So, of course, all you guys know about Teflon. It's on carpets, but you may not know how it's used in so many things. It's on carpets, pans, coats, cars. Leather is made with it as well. Floor waxes. It's fluoride C8 or PFOA. I think it's PFOS. And then PTFE is the Gore. It's stent grafts were made at PTFE, which we place those kind of stent grafts all the time in interventional radiology. So that's why it piqued my interest. Insulators, electric wire, waxed papers, firefighting foam and outdoor clothing, carpet care, upholstery textiles, Gore-Tex, PTFE based, medical garments, stone and tiles, wood sealants, food, contact paper, I guess they were referencing to wax paper again, and then dental floss, which I told you I'd been gifted from Gore. Thread, sealant tape, PTFE cookware, concentrates in surface ocean water, and presents in many animals. Now these are what are called forever chemicals, and they are in everything. Okay, now they have been tested in the water in 50 states, and they project that 99% of all humans have some of these forever chemicals in them. It's present in many animals. They listed salmon, swordfish, mullet, gray seals, Alaskan polar bears, brown pelicans, sea turtles, sea eagles, bald eagles, California sea lions, Laysian albatrosses, and sand island. Most people tested in the U.S. have PFOA in their serum, 99% they estimated in the movie. And from the site leafscore.com, L-E-A-F, score.com, PFAS, PFOAs, and PTFE, and again the PFOA is the C8. Everything you need to know about forever chemicals. Again, they listed water repellent, stain repellent, shoes, boots, lunch boxes, bags, pencil cases, gym bags, yoga mats, tents, kayak covers, and cleaning products. And how many of these things do you have no idea that that's being used in what you're putting your face in, okay? PTFE is more stable, but it's still toxic in Teflon-free, quote-unquote, cookware that's marked as safe. Food wrappers, especially takeout containers, disposable plates and cups and microwave popcorn bags, pizza boxes, burger wrappers, and candy wrappers. Even some cosmetics have some tainting from the machinery used. Carpet, mattress, furniture, stain repellent, PFAS coating. More common in outdoor rugs and furniture. And again, found in 50 states and in bottled water. The FDA does not enforce a limit on PFAS in bottled water. A 2021 study said PFAS contaminated in 39 of the 100 samples they tested of water bottles. Runoff from washing household products, and if you live near a military base, the airport, or training for firefighters, which all communities have, the chances are the groundwater contains PFAS. So filter to minimize your exposure. The biggest problem is that the endocrine disruptors that affect the body's hormonal system. The PFAS can affect reproductive health, growth, and metabolism linked to a variety of health issues. And they said to avoid leather because the tanning of the leather often uses PFAS and other toxic chemicals. For cooking, they suggest using cast iron, ceramic, and stainless steel and glass. Test your household water for PFAS, or go to your municipal testing, and use a water filter. They were recommending reverse osmosis and 2-stage filters, best at removing the PFAS, and to ditch fossil fuels because in preparing the fossil fuels, they also use a lot of PFAS in the fracking process. So again, go solar and electric. All right, so that's that. So on the 3rd, which was Friday, and my daughter had actually gone to England on Thursday, the 2nd. I've been pulling my past life deck cards in the morning, so just that deck. The trees, the mother came up with the underlying energy of wisdom, the unicorn again, which has been coming up a lot too, and wars and battles. It's like a civil war kind of energy, which can be a marital war as well. Karmic religion, or karmic relationships, ships, finances, and fighting your way across the sea. The new ship coming in with financial issues here. And then planes, ships, and battlefields and tripods were coming up. And again, third parties, being the 2 peas in the pod and then a third party. And pirate ships, as I was just talking about the voyagers from the French deck coming into the lighthouse when they're actually pirates. And again, battles. And that could be battles between partners, between siblings. So that kind of stuff could have been coming up. The picture of the suitcase on the train tracks. And the train tracks in that picture looks like a pyramid, so it brings in that energy of the desert and Egypt. And the pirate ship in discovering gold, silver, coin is on track. Planes, trains, and automobiles came up in my Instagram messages as well. Being on track, but no train. And the energy of the carpenter, the high priestess, which can represent the masculine and feminine, the Jesus and Mary Magdalene energies, the galactic knight standing guard, the military pilot, and the new ship coming in to collect the treasure, or must travel to collect something that's due to them. And again, the energy of that pyramid being destination unknown. And also the energy of the numbers 4 and 9 both came up, perhaps dealing with 2 homes, moving or on vacation, the power lady home presenting her truth and gifts, looking out the front window, and he admiring the perfect home in the car, looking at the globe to see what place to conquer next, where to read about with the many shelves of books he owns, the emperor or king of cups waiting for their ship to come in, and the hermit willing to change car or residence for the worldly man. The Nine of Pentacles, Jackal and Hyde were coming up, as well as the Tomb Raider, the Grave Digger, and the Ambulance Chaser, which this is so... all of these topics always come up. There's always a line from a movie that's very specific to the downloads that I'm getting. So Ambulance Chaser I got here, and then that night I watched a movie and they literally said Ambulance Chaser. So notice that stuff that's coming up for you as well. And then from my Ascension deck, which I wanted to pull a card from that deck for you guys too, just to set the tone of like what Master's trying to come through to you guys today. The energy of the fourth ray was coming through with Pallas Athena and Serapis Bey, which I had a whole thing about Serapis Bey related to Osiris and Lord Apis, and then becoming Serapis Bey, which is the third kind of cut from the Godhead, and then Lord Sirius being the energy of Sir Eos, which is Jesus. The Ascended Master Retreats came up, Paul the Venetian, which is a very creative, loving energy, 37 came up with that. And the Fire Dragons with Gabriel and Thor. Gabriel came up a lot this week too, with Thor and the Salamanders to call them in to transmute conflict in order to spread nourishment and peace and warmth. The third and fourth rays both coming up. The third ray was Paul the Venetian and the creative arts, visions, fairies, and the flame of liberty, helping to set you free. And the fourth dimensional elementals to transmute what the angels can't reach. And a lot of angel cards had been coming up all week as well. Gabriel, Thor, and the fire dragons, sending out to consume negative energy and replace that energy with a shimmering diamond of pure light, according to the cards. So again, the third and fourth rays and transmutation were coming up very significantly this day, of creativity and inspired vision from the three, and the four of wisdom to harmonize vision. So the grounding and integrating of it. And the number, I was, from the cards, 121 had come up, so I'd looked it up in Gematria, which is Mark, Maria, and Sam. And 515, which was Babylon, the seal is broken. And 121 is my son's destiny number, which is why I wanted to look it up, which was very interesting because his dad's name is Mark. So there's always these crossovers in everything. All right, so now water signs versus air signs was also coming up together, working in conjunction. Right, the energy of the air signs of the sword, and this will come up further down my notes here about the straight sword versus the curved energy of like the, what specifically was coming up, the dolphin's fin as compared to the porpoise. The porpoise has a straight fin, and the dolphin has a curved fin, which makes them more friendly. That's how I always remember that. And there was that same reference here with swords and the beak of the ibis, which is Thoth energy, which also is coming up here. All right, so now we have the read on the table. So this was from the third. And let's see what the die have for you guys here. All right, we have Uranus coming up here. We have, which is Aquarius, and we have the number 4 here, which is the Emperor and Aries, and April, of course. April is significant. And then we have Libra over here. So we have Aries and Libra as the north and south node, and then the age of Aquarius in the middle here. Interesting. And we have 2 air signs here with Aquarius and Libra, and then Aries over here. And Aries and Libra are cardinal, and then we have a fixed sign in the middle. So staying fixed in the middle, that Aquarius, because it's going to be here for a long time. And again, the energy of leadership with the Emperor, and then the mediator over here with Libra. And that line, that Aries Ramsgate that keeps coming up in dealing with the now Taurus energies that we're in. There's several conjunctions coming up this month as well in Taurus. So before I forget, I'm also going to pull from the Ascension cards, because I want now, if the Ascension card comes up as not as one of the cards that doesn't have a specific guide, master, or angel, we're going to take that as to mean you're supposed to go source direct, okay? As well as the message from the card. So let's see what comes up from the Ascension deck. All right, this is for the Twin Flame community. What guides, masters, angels specifically, or source, should they connect with right now? What's for their best and highest good for all those concerned here for the Twin Flames? Yep, that came right out. 2 cards. All right, and the bottom of the deck is the Sphinx. We have the 20, which is the Judgment. And you have a picture of that, so you can read that if you'd like to. The affirmation is, I connect to the God force within the Sphinx. And again, that'll reference Egypt. And you receive a charge of God force when you think about it. So there's your direct connect there. And the crystal skulls come up from that as well, to radiate peace and oneness through the universe. And the cards that came up were Hilarion, which is very significant because this is the one who's going to help you channel, okay, higher channels and clairvoyance. The affirmation is, I open myself to the wisdom and guidance of Hilarion. And 46 is the 6 of Cups, which is that beautiful childlike energy of the orange 5th ray of technology and science, truth and knowledge. He invites you to open your mind so that he can drop seeds for new ideas into your consciousness. He assists those who are ready to become higher channels and clairvoyance. Your guidance is to sit quietly and ask him to help you be all that you can be. Okay, and he's noted as coming from Saturn here and stepping down his energy through the Temple of Truth over Crete in Egypt again. He is the negotiator for Earth on the Counselor of Saturn and helps us remain connected to, on our spiritual journey in this very childlike way. And then we have Orion here as well, which I was also guided to Orion from one of the other cards the other day as well. The great, and that's number 18, which is the moon. And Thoth is connected with the moon as the moon god. The great masters of Orion invite you to visit Orion in meditation or sleep to receive a download of cosmic wisdom. This is an honor, so prepare yourself with intention during the day by showering, lighting a candle, playing sacred music, or walking in nature. Then you will receive much spiritual light. Orion is the soul star chakra of this universe. You may find it helpful to ask Archangel Mariel to light up your personal soul star chakra, Mariel, which is above your head, to facilitate your connection. So we're calling in Hilarion and Mariel now. And this affirmation says, I honor the masters of Orion and visit them in my sleep. Okay, so remember Hilarion by the children and laughing. Okay, and then the moon, the children and the moon, remember that for now. And the Sphinx, which is the 20 of Judgment. So there is a lot of Egyptian energy coming through here. And the orange 5th ray of technology, science, truth, and knowledge for channeling, to help you do that. All right, so we got specific energy that the Sphinx was bringing in your source direct connection. And then also using Hilarion and Archangel Mariel may be helpful for you. And just whatever resonates with you guys. All right, so here we now have this read on the table, which is just the Sirian Starseed deck with the Rider Mini as the clarifiers. This was done on the 3rd. This was at 5:30. And then I finished clarifying this read, and this is a very specific physical union type read. I finished it was like 5:20 to 5:30 when I finished clarifying, which is the 52 and 53 of the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Swords, but also the 5 of this month of May, and the 20 of Judgment again, and then the 30 of Union, or the home. And remember, 30 is the symbol of the Om as well, with the crown on top. The major arcana here were the shadow and the underlying energies here on top, which is one of our little feathers right there. The Ascension card in the middle, we have reason, which is the Emperor here. The Hanging Man is over there in the recent past. We have the Great Wheel right here, and the Indigo as in the place of the Twin Flames. And then Transition comes up over here after the end of the read. There was 1 cup, 2 swords, and 1 pentacle. So here we have that 1-2-2 energy. Remember, I brought up 1-2-1 and also 2-2-2 from Pisces. And the only court card that came up here in the read is the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords is here after the read, actually. So there were no court cards in this read. So it's very much an energetic read. You know, we do have the trump cards here with the Emperor right there. And we have that Magician card here of Indigo. So we'll see what else comes up. But the numbers came up. We had just had double 5s. That was it. So 5 is very significant. 5-5 is the Ace of Swords and the Truth. We also had 24, which is the Queen of Wands, and Omega, the letter X. 45 is the 5 of Cups. 57 is the 3 of Swords. 78, the 10 of Pentacles. 89 for me is the expansion energy of Phi, the reflection of 98, the temperature of the human. And then 9, 10, begin again. The code line was all about the number 99 from 10, 84, and 5, and Agent 99 was just coming up. The co-creation, showing of power after death to the nth degree of the Wheel of Fortune or destiny of the Twin Flame IV Han, which is the Happiness Hotel, like in the Muppets. And always the other definitions also come up as the Inn by the River with ginger and food. As reason, the great 84 of 50. I don't know if that means something to someone, but 84 of 50. F or twin flame crystals, or the 5 of Pentacles coming up here with the strength of the Emperor and Hawaii 5-0, but also Hawaii and 51st dates could be coming up as well. And just the 10 of Cups of family happiness, and the great dance in the 4 of 5. 4 is the Emperor, 5 is the Hierophant, but also the energy of dancing between stability and freedom, 4 and 5. And then I was getting manum manum, so from the Muppets again, manum manum, and then I was getting that yum energy, and then the energy of yummy, and the nephew coming up, or an intention, the infinite I in high vibe twin flame energy IV, the 2 as the reason, the great 8 and or T key, right? You could reference that as the trump key or the top dog key, and the 4 of 5, the stability versus freedom of the 5 of Pentacles, or the 4 of Pentacles, which often references the Divine Masculine in this Syrian Starseed deck, of the 5 Pentacles of the Hermit in the Mary Magdalene cave, right? So that's references the 4 of Pentacles is the Masculine in the Bat cave, and the 5 of Pentacles being the Hermit in the Mary Magdalene cave. And here it was coming up as the Bat cave is within the Mary Magdalene cave and above it all. So her cave, that picture is like the Hermit in the cave above the group down below. And here now they're saying that the Bat cave is accessed through the Mary Magdalene cave that's above it all. Infinitely yummy, high vibe twin flame IV2 in the Inn by the River as the Emperor or reason, the great key and 8 key for Hermit in the Mary Magdalene cave. So, and again, that great references the tiger and the tiger-lioness connection. As the underlying energy we start with here is the shadow reversed, and beneath that is the King of Pentacles, Strength card, Abundance, all reversed, and then the King of Swords upright with the 9 of Pentacles reversed and the Knight of Pentacles reversed. As the King of Pentacles reversed, and you see there's a lot of Pentacles characters there, that could be a father and their children, but there's 2 kings here as well. The King of Pentacles could be ungrounded and or being greedy or weak in lack, or with the Empress reversed, and the King of Swords upright, with 2 ungrounded or dependent kids, with the 9 of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles, in the shadows, or with codependency here. Leo, Taurus reversed with Capricorn upright, perhaps a released ex or no more affections or calls, or being present, or just showing up, uninvited. The toxic ex made a bad call to be present or waiting for their ship to come in. As the Knight of Pentacles reversed may be stuck or drained or got burned working nights or never seeing the light of day, working sun up into the night, or with kids at work and the dogs at night, or the Knight of Pentacles reversed, refusing to get up until the night and unable to function, as dark shadows or hides at day, only showing up to howl at night. Leo reversed and Cancer upright. And again, that could be referencing Cancer to Leo season coming up as well. Perhaps the King of Pentacles reversed and the King of Swords reversed are dependent on each other, and maybe the children are referencing their sibling rivalry, but only one showing up and the other being lazy. The recent past is the Hanging Man upright with the right knee block, uncomfortable with the King of Swords reversed and the Queen of Wands upright, dropping the act or adding to their expenses, with the 10 of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community dysfunction or loss, or dealing with suffering in silence, a sister, or stress, or dealing with no sleep and unable to shut off their thoughts. And then Thoth coming up, and that'll come up in a bit. The foundation is the 10 of Cups reversed, the unhappy family or ending an emotional cycle, coming clean about the 10 of Swords, pain, surgery, betrayal, or massage to get the truth out of them. So someone could be offering a massage not to be nice, but to get them so relaxed that they'll talk. In the energetic exchange and losing a battle with no options, the central energy being the Ascension world reversed, the Fool fell or embarrassed suddenly, and working hard to get out of powerlessness, saving, frustrations. Or post-op with no sex, because you're not allowed, or no offering to help others while you're recovering, or no spending due to unexpected expenses. As the Knight of Pentacles reversed could be stubborn, and the Nine of Pentacles reversed could be spendy, or both with issues and unable to function properly or fully. Or one is post-surgery and one is post-fall, and their world is upside down, challenged by the Emperor reversed, standing over them, but dissatisfied with themselves and over-isolating or losing their mind. And now crowning here is the Four of Swords, seeking clarity or in a split, on break, a rest, a meditation, or at the beach. The High Priestess dumping emotional attachments to recover practically, with the Knight of Swords constantly after them or on their tail, as the Empress reversed, with friends gossiping or drinking or antisocial, or the Empress reversed constantly at them about a third party, or maybe she's just not doing well. And soon here is the Wheel reversed after the Six of Cups upright, being very loving. This could be a soulmate or your children, or fond memories of the past. Perhaps besties in a twist of fate, sad in a divorce with the Knight of Wands, not letting go, or running between the Hierophant reversed, or Taurus, and the Dark Knight reversed, or Scorpio reversed. Perhaps the Knight of Wands is Libra or fire, as the Six of Cups upright may be on break or sleeping together, the Page of Wands and the Page of Swords, or resting up to play ball while things are slow. As the twin flames are seeing themselves as the Indigo reversed, or wanting to propose, the Divine Masculine holding on to injustice of the Knight of Cups upright, offering love to the Page of Cups, or having to be the one to propose, or kids that are too young to be together. The good news to the King of Wands that they perhaps hammered it out in separation, and the Wounded Warrior reverse, surrendering, needing closure, or just in another world. And around the twins are how they're seen as the Five of Swords, perhaps an inner growth spurt, from frog to prince, juggling 3 and saving 2 for later, an unstable home, or visiting to hang out and receive love from the Page of Pentacles, and an opportunity to look at the details, or perhaps make a special invite. And that could be a student as well, right? An opportunity. The block here being the Eight of Pentacles reversed, with the Emperor reversed that's not working out, or maybe they're overworking and that's the Emperor's issue. He's not sharing with the King of Pentacles reversed, or he scammed them, right? The Five of Pentacles reversed, Hermit coming out of the Mary Magdalene cave while things are slow, and they can still keep their energy clear, perhaps to themselves, giving them peace of mind. In a disconnect or at a distance here from the Emperor reversed, with patient manipulation and or insecurities about facing fears, assessing worth, or facing the divine feminine, driving or traveling as the Queen of Swords makes dreams come true, in need of peace and no need for an excuse, with the King of Cups upright and the Queen of Pentacles reversed, who may be weak, with the Ten of Cups reversed, tunneling through, with the Queen of Cups reversed, temptation or depressed or addicted Capricorn here. We have the Ten of Cups reversed and the Queen of Cups reversed. So this could be very negative or depressed or sad energy. It could be a loss. We're not getting death in this read, but they could be grieving from something. But otherwise, they could be a very manipulative energy, or that energy of misery loves company. The Hermit with the Five of Pentacles reversed is coming out, but refusing to surrender to all that is. Clingy and uninspired, or just dead tired with no sense of humor, and needing to pass downloads, but there's no one watching, with the Page of Swords, messaging the King of Cups at work, trying to put puzzle pieces together. At 6:43, which is the Lovers, and then the coming together of the Three of Cups. Or perhaps they're assessing worth, or the King of Cups coming together to work with the Divine Feminine here. At 7:21 is the Chariot and the World, coming out of caves to meet or co-create at the E Tower. As the King of Swords with the Nine of Pentacles and Knight of Pentacles all reversed, the Shadow and the Ten of Cups reversed, perhaps the Shadow family or Sham fam here, and their manipulation, and the insecurity around growing within. Overworking or not working out, and at rest to recover from exile, injury, illness, or breaking patterns of not letting things die, and the frustrations of coming clean, cleaning up for the Page of Swords and King of Cups at work in order to reap rewards, or just people coming to create together and reap some rewards together. And that could even just be children coming home. Okay. Against All Odds also came up this week. All right, so on the 4th, I did my 100 to 0 in the morning when I woke up. And I actually put the intention to remove my biggest block, and I posted this on Instagram. I regressed myself before getting up. And I didn't post it on YouTube because there's some, stuff about Plum Island that I don't know if they would have been okay with, but I'll just tell you a summary of it real quick here. But so anyway, I saw a white woman with glasses, and she reminded me of Scooby-Doo's Velma with dark curly hair and glasses. And it was definitely a scientist examining me. And again, this is me doing a past life regression with myself. I looked to my feet, and something popped in the kitchen, like bubble wrap, but I didn't. Nobody was in the kitchen at the time, but I heard this pop noise. Now I looked at my feet, and I had 5 toes, but they weren't separated, and they were much bigger at the top than at the bottom. And if you watch my Instagram, you can see all the pictures that I brought up to explain this. They were more webbed, like Bigfoot, and dark and hairy. The whole foot was dark with thin ankles, though, like a human, and my hands looked human, but yet there was this essence of them not being human. There was this lankiness and graceful flow, this lightness of spreading them and curling them as I watched them. They seemed whiter and more human than my feet, so I tried to see more of my body and face. And I definitely was a male with small hips, but my face was more human, but with a strong brow line, more ape-like energies, but I wasn't getting Neanderthal. I guess it could have had Neanderthal energy, but I was getting a human. But they had a strong brow line. So it was a male with small hips, but the face was human, but more strong. And the hairline, though, was like an ape. It came up around the face and the neck like an ape's would, all the way around the face and head. Neck was hairy, but the expression on their face was very human. I didn't get a full shot of the chest, and this was at 10:28, the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Wands, or the Twin Flames. I didn't get a full shot of my chest, but it felt very hairy and dark, and bigger and thicker than my lower body. The scientist was picking something off me, it seemed, but I had a hard time initially getting to this. And at this point, she flew up in the air, the scientist, with wings. But she had some kind of silver metal contraption around her, but the wings were organic. When I asked if I was on Earth or off planet, I didn't get a clear answer. It felt like I was in a between type place. And then I got being tarred and feathered. But I hadn't been tarred and feathered, I just looked that way. The island of misfit toys had come up last week, and that came up again here. And that's what we were. My feeling the whole time was so much shame. I kept holding my face in my hands in distress. She was not hurting me. It turned out that she was plucking random feathers, like we would random hairs. And I had asked if I was a hybrid, but she said no. So I didn't understand until the misfit toys came up, that they were what they called, quote unquote, an experiment. I was definitely part human, part ape or monkey, and part goose or perhaps pelican, and I believe I had bear in me too. I had functioning wings, but I also had random feathers. Her contraption was for her handicapped wings. When she rose from the ground, it looked like she was wearing a cage that strengthened her wings and allowed her to fly. Otherwise, she looked completely human. We were definitely associated with Plum Island, but not necessarily in this dimension or on the island. Perhaps at a base below Plum Island, which I have picked up on multiple times. I felt so much shame, and not for being part animal, but for being human who could do this to animals, and now myself, so naturally themselves. The shame overrode all other animal instincts. I could not live with myself, and Spirit's connecting with me very deeply right now. I was tearing up as I came out of this meditation, and after I got up, I just wanted to cry. And I was looking up the pictures of birds to see what I was getting, because I was getting a connection between the geese and the pelicans. And there are ones that are referred, like there are certain geese that are deemed to look like pelicans. So the ibis was one of them, the egret, the trumpet, and the swans all can be similar. So of course, the geese landed on my roof twice last week, and the ibis is Thoth, which comes up here. So both of them could have been very significant. And in another regression I had, I was in a perfect pelican life with my partner in a very peaceful, loving, entertaining